Yeah, we're rolling high. Did you try to post it somewhere only you can post?
No, I'm sitting here looking for Discord and can't find it.
Oh, yeah. We are sharing the stream currently. Welcome to night 3. Lauren Smithfield's Our Timeline. We're going to construct a timeline and put it visually on screen. And that's the concept. We're going to break down emotions Lauren went through that day. So, let's see. I know I want to start at December 8th when they match on Bumble.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start there. December 8th. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We know that much. We know that much happened. I don't have anything really between there and the 11th, like the day of the 11th, when the correspondence, really we only have Matt's side of the story with the correspondence. We don't have text, anything to know what happened really in between and what they had talked about, what they had discussed, what anything was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I have some black and whites where we can kind of hop right to December 11th, right? So, according to Matt, on December 11th, they were in correspondence for a good chunk of the day, is how it's implied. That they built a plan for the evening,
Mm-hmm.
is how he made it out. Now, his story is he gave her $40 to go get her nails done. And then it sounds like he brought the tequila. Again, at her request is the original story I had heard. And it was Matt's account on site.
Mm-hmm.
So, we kind of know in the evening what they were up to. Now, what was December 11th, 2021? Am I going the right direction? No.
A Saturday.
Okay, so no school or anything. It's not like she's really probably doing anything
That's probably why
for the
they
community
were
college. Yeah,
hanging
get to
out
hang
that
out.
day.
It was a Saturday evening. So I propose we start with getting her nails done. We know for certain Lauren. Well, we know from Matt that she supposedly did that, and he gave money to have that done.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I thought maybe we could do is see what nail places are closest to Lauren's residence, or just in Bridgeport,
Mm-hmm.
real quick, and just kind of speculate potentially what that back and forth is like. Just to have done it, just to get a clear, we've dedicated time for timelines to people like Brian Laundrie, which I shouldn't invoke his name. Oh. Oh, that's I cannot type today. Good Lord. According to Matt. Now, again, the way I heard it implied was that Matt was responsible for the tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the attorney, we heard him say last night that I mean, he really just gave a no comment. But I'm gonna go with what Matt said on site and say Matt also obtained tequila.
Mm-hmm. Because we'll find out who brought what.
Yeah. Uh,
It's
now.
just that night for the cat. I'm sorry. Oh.
You're good. Now, again, Matt's version of the story. Matt obtains tequila. She gets her nails done. They meet up at around 9:30 p.m. So, we'll. Matt goes to Lauren's apartment. Is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, according to Matt, they have drinks. She gets sick. And this happens before she goes out to talk. No, excuse me. She got sick after she went out to talk to her brother, but they had had shots. So this is where this gets confusing for me. So, according to Matt, drinking begins. And it's straight tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they have some. Now, this is where I'm really confused because does she get sick before Lakeem shows up or after Lakeem shows up?
That's what I was just thinking about. I feel like she got sick before.
Yeah. That's how Matt makes it out in his original statement. And then it's almost like he doesn't bring up Lakeem coming over until maybe later when prompted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm wondering if maybe here, let me just mute that sucker for a second. There we go. Hmm? Oh, thank you. Again, our timeline is it's going to move around a lot visually on screen. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like he said that she got sick before Lakeem showed up.
Yeah.
And because then they switched to chasers. Lakeem shows up. She gets something from him.
Yeah.
And then she spends 10 to 15 minutes in the bathroom.
Okay.
Unrelated to the getting sick.
Lauren gets sick. They switch to chasers. Now, he mentioned snacks, but he didn't mention when.
Because at some point after Lakeem shows up is when they turn on a movie, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't. Let's just see real quick. Let's pop open. Let's check out some articles real quick and refresh ourselves with Matt's point of view, perhaps, because it's really the only thing that the press can report on right now. Okay, wait. Circumstances says I'm not. I mean, come on now. We know Cardi B.
Why does everybody keep saying that Bumble didn't make a statement when they did?
Yeah, Bumble did indeed make a statement. Yeah.
I don't know why people keep saying that. Like, I just saw the statement.
Oh. Uh-oh. That's rough.
Is it?
No, it's good, I guess. It's good, I guess.
It's like, what?
Hmm. Hmm, 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 hmm. This is ridiculous. Let's see what we have here. Keep that muted for just a moment. Show what we're watching over here.
There are new questions about the police investigation into the dating app
Go
death
back
of a
through
young
some of
woman,
this and
Lauren
see if we can't
Smithfields in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
clean up our
Investigative reporter Sarah Wallace
timeline.
delves into that mystery.
They wanted us to forget about our daughter, their sister, our loved one. They thought they was gonna just.
I think this one has a more comprehensive timeline
Benny
situation.
Baltan, great to have you with us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And we begin this hour with the story of a 23-year-old young woman.
He's
from
the only other
Bridgeport,
person as I
Connecticut,
bring up 330.
who died. She was healthy, but then was found dead. She had met a man on the dating app Bumble. Lauren Smithfields is her name. They were together that night. He is the one who called 911 when he says he found her unresponsive. The family, not satisfied with the way the investigation was going, has put a lot of pressure on City Hall, on the police, and now some things are happening in the case, including the medical examiner finally, since December 12th, releasing a report claiming, ruling the death accidental, but finding fentanyl and other prescription drugs in her system. So the big question is, how did it get in her system? There's a criminal investigation that is underway. Let me read for you from the incident report. I think it's important because Matt LaFountain, who was the man that she met on Bumble, the dating app, called 911.
Yeah, here's his official.
Here's what, according to the police incident report, he said. He went on to say that they began drinking shots of tequila and Lauren became ill. She went to the bathroom to vomit and was apologetic when she returned. They then decided to drink the tequila with mixers. Then told him that her brother was going to be dropping something off to her. She went outside for a few minutes. He never saw the brother.
Okay,
When
so
she
then they
came
started
back in,
watching
she
the
went
movie
straight
after
to
she
the
got sick.
bathroom,
Oh,
and she
okay.
stayed there for 10
Like, they
to
played
15
games, ate food,
minutes.
started
They
watching
continued to
movie.
watch the movie and
And
finished
then
a bottle of tequila. Lauren fell asleep on the couch, so he
Lakeem shows
carried
up.
her to the bedroom and laid her in her bed. He then laid down next to her. He woke up at approximately 3 a.m. to use the bathroom, and Lauren was snoring. He woke up again approximately 6:30 a.m., and she was laying on her right side. Blood was coming out of her nostril on the bed, and she was not breathing. That is when he called 911.
Okay. Let's go from there. Because again, his statement is the foundation of a lot of it, and we have it here. Lauren didn't seem drunk, and now I forgot to timestamp that. This was. He says according to his phone records, it was around 11, I think 53.
Mm-hmm. I know in the interview he said around 11:50.
Yeah. And, it's just between 9:30 and midnight, basically, that these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
They drink, they get sick, she switches to chasers. now is where we get into some business. I'm gonna go ahead and, now we're functionally at his accounting of December 12th, right? I mean, well, they started watching a movie, right, and laid down, is what he said.
Right, but they started watching the movie after she got sick.
So does he not initially mention Lakeem here?
No, okay, go back one. Like, yeah, right there.
She stayed there for 10 to 15
Played some games,
minutes.
ate food,
They
started to
continued
watch
to
a
watch the
movie.
movie
Then
and
she was
finished a
texting
bottle of
someone.
tequila.
Her
Lauren
brother was
fell
dropping
asleep on the
something
couch,
off to
so
her,
he
is what
carried-
he said.
Oh, goodness.
Lakeem said he was picking up clothes. Regardless, she went outside.
Yeah, regardless, yeah. She went outside. Good point there. Now, okay.
They switch to chasers. Then they watch a movie. Supposedly ate.
Yeah. And ate a snack. Lakeem arrives to drop something off. Lakeem says he was picking up clothes. Lakeem says I didn't seem drunk.
Then she goes back in the apartment and spends 15 minutes in the bathroom.
According to Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And they finished the bottle of tequila.
Mm-hmm. And she fell asleep on the couch. Yeah. Sorry, I need to switch it to the next. And here's another thing that really confuses me. So she fell asleep on the couch. And she's out enough for him to carry her to bed.
Yeah.
That doesn't actually happen in real life. That's a movie
No.
thing. I can
Yeah.
guarantee most people,
Thank you, Special. Yeah, no, there's no way. I
most
mean, I don't.
people do not stay asleep when that's a 7-year-old that
Yeah.
stays asleep when you pick them up off the couch.
Now that you say that,
Not a 23-year-old girl, woman.
The only time I think I've ever had to actually deadlift a super drunk friend was like damn near alcohol poisoning.
Which is a problem.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, yeah, they finished the tequila.
but it shouldn't have been.
If they finished it
by Matt's account, that drunk.
But if it was one bottle of tequila between the two of them, yeah, then I don't know, like it. Maybe the reason she was out was because she was drugged. Is my point.
Yeah,
It's like maybe that's when it like really hit her.
I think you're onto something, and I think maybe that I think maybe he had slipped something, and that's why she didn't seem necessarily intoxicated. When my one experience with GHB, I had almost this sped up effect at first, and I was kind of party before I was passing out. So that kind of fits to, again, like, yeah, being drugged to me. see it that way. I can see it that way, absolutely. Now where are we at? Since you're a little bit closer to that other screen.
Well, he carried her to bed and put her to bed. And then he claims to have fallen asleep, but we know that's not true. I guess technically we don't know that that's not true, but we know for a fact he was awake at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's up with the condom and the lube and all the blood?
I
and
know.
all yeah, there's no.
This is based off of his account.
Yeah.
He wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning to use the bathroom. Lauren is still asleep. He makes a point to say that she's snoring.
Okay.
And I want to add something else to the timeline.
Yeah.
The next point is Cronin is at the apartment. Because the rest of this story is bonkers.
Well,
He supposedly wakes up again at 6:30 and she's just dead.
mm-hmm.
We know that's not true.
No. We're going to put just that there for right now, and we're going to hop right to December 12th, 6:30.
She's on her right side with blood coming out of her right nostril, and she's not breathing. So he calls 911 at 6:30.
Yeah.
And then she's pronounced dead at 6:49.
Okay. Lauren is found on her right side with blood coming from her nose. And pronounced dead at 6:49.
And apparently,
At 6:49, man.
yes. And he also tells the medic, no, he tells the cop, I'm assuming Cronin, that she'd been dead for at least an hour. Which also does not match up with the idea that he woke up at 6:30 in the morning to find her unresponsive. How do you know she was dead for an hour?
Yeah.
You can't, as a person who does not know anything about a dead body, you cannot assume somebody's been dead for an hour.
No.
You can't.
No. You really can't.
There's still more of it that's missing.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's on like Donkey Kong with the timeline.
Okay, so I did want to make a point.
Or the ME did. I believe Matt did.
No,
according
Matt
to-
said, so this is the account of the police officer that took the report, and it says, he told me that she has been dead for at least an hour or more.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the medic did tell him,
Yeah.
but that's still, regardless. It's wrong, regardless.
Yeah.
So, we know that Cronin was at the apartment at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
We know that.
That is exactly what a report
So-
said.
If we're saying between 11:50 at night on December 11th and 3 o'clock in the morning on December 12th, that he had fallen asleep and then woken up, called Cronin, he was there at 3:30. It's impossible.
There's just no way.
It's genuinely impossible because of the rest of the evidence that they found in the apartment at the time. So they found the condom, they found significantly more blood than what would have been coming out of her nose,
Yeah.
and lube.
Lube, a condom in the bathroom. Now, when are the possessions actually turned over to the family? I'm going to put here on the timeline the police failed to retrieve a few different items real quick.
Yeah.
There's a few different pieces of physical evidence that the Smithfields camp had to make them get, but I'm going to note that they failed to gather this
Gave a
evidence.
written field statement as to his account. Okay, hang on. Somebody's redacted because it says blank gave a written field statement as to his account of the events of the evening. I guess that's Matt.
Yeah, they initially weren't releasing his actual name.
Okay.
Um,
And it feels like the suggestion is almost that the condom itself was fresh, which makes sense because there's also lube stains all over the place.
mm-hmm.
And I promise you, Homegirl would not have let a man in her house with blood on her sheets.
Well, and I want to know what kind of pill was there that, again, Lakeem, in the past, he's being smeared right now, his character, for having caught a Suboxone DUI. And why wouldn't, Lakeem is one of the people who saw this unidentified pill and didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think if he knew what it was, he would say, I know exactly what that dude brought and what the hell. But it's genuine. Like,
And he turned it over.
And he turned it over. Like, there's
the
no.
police.
Oh, well, that's just to speak to his character, which again I think he's a good person. I think he's a good brother. I don't think he.
Well, that's my point. Is that
Yeah.
if he knew what it was and it could have potentially been from him, I don't think he would have turned it over to the police.
Oh, for sure. I think they genuinely don't know what it is, and it sounds like it's something that was maybe brewed up, or I don't know, kind of homebrew, home pressed thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hell of an amount of evidence to not pick up from the scene day of.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, does it say anything about Cronin or the other detective being aware of these things in the apartment when they were there?
We would only know that if it was in the police report.
Gotcha. That's right.
3 a.m.
Let's
he used the
rewatch a little bit of
bathroom and
this.
Lauren was snoring. He woke up again approximately 6:30 a.m.
Just kinda
and
go
she was
back through the
laying on her
timeline.
right side. Blood was coming out of her nostril on the bed, and she was not breathing. That is when he called 911.
Don't get me wrong, unless
The
he only
family
lasted an actual
questioning,
10 minutes with this
some of
girl
this,
before
a lot
falling
of this.
asleep, I
And
don't
we've been
think
talking
within
about this
those 3
story,
hours
So we want to cover all
he could
sides.
have done what they did and then fallen asleep and then called Cronin at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would you call Cronin at 3 o'clock in the morning if she's snoring?
Well, and it's weird that Cronin's the person that shows back up at 6.
Right.
Like that.
So,
again,
like,
I
what?
mean,
At what point? So he came over, assessed that maybe she was slightly alive, said, watch her for a little while.
I
And
just.
and then text me if you're still afraid of something. And
Yes.
then he probably texted him again, and
Yeah.
he said, okay, you need to call 911.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
I
he was
wonder
trying
if-
to get Cronin to advise him about what to do next.
Yeah. I wonder if that.
But why would you do that?
What does the? I wonder. Well, I forget what the medical examiner said. Her actual when she actually passed away.
Well, yeah, but the medic said that, now that I'm rereading it, the medic said she was dead for at least an hour.
Gotcha.
So we're talking 5:30
Okay.
at least,
Okay.
because he supposedly wakes up at 6:30, calls 911. They get there by 6:49, so at least by 5:30 she's dead.
Yeah. Which is awful late in the evening. I mean, I wonder if she was
And
having,
he said an hour or more.
if she had an overdose or an ill reaction earlier in the evening.
So for all we know, she could have died closer to maybe even 4:45, depending on by the time Cronin left the apartment. Like, there's no telling with that 3:30 at what point she really died until we get it from the autopsy.
Yeah.
Because they usually are able to tell, well, yeah, usually they're able to tell what the time of death of someone, but they also took forever on this case and didn't even do the autopsy until recently.
Yeah. No, they really.
Even an initial assessment, it doesn't seem like they really tried to see at least what time she died
Yeah.
when they picked up the body.
They just took his word for it from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cronin maybe helped him build a story.
Yeah.
Now it's fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol in her system. We know where the alcohol came from, but this fentanyl, promethazine, and hydroxyzine, why would you? There would be evidence, you'd think, when the cops show up, if it hadn't have been cleaned up beforehand with the help of a detective, ingesting more than one drug at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I kind of hold firm on my theory that
Yeah.
I think Matt thought he was getting GHB and drugged the tequila.
Mm-hmm.
This is why in the timeline she drinks something she requested
And then gets sick.
and then gets sick, says it doesn't taste right, wants it with chasers.
Or not even, we shouldn't even really say that she requested it. Like I said last night, for all we know, that could have just been an icebreaker question that he asked her on Bumble. What do you like to drink?
Yeah.
She probably said tequila.
We'll know a lot more if this can go to trial and we can get some text receipts from the evening. I still say
That
we
could
need
be
some
him
text
trying to get
receipts from
brownie
you.
points.
Yeah. Yeah. That could absolutely be his trying to get
About to say. I also don't necessarily believe in the snoring thing. I also kind of think maybe, just maybe, she might have been asphyxiating.
I think
A little bit.
It's strange that he brings it up like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He mentions the snoring, like
Because
him paying
she's-
attention to her breathing. That definitely is like a
If she
cue
has-
towards something.
Yeah, if she has that
Yeah.
much of an amount of a drug in her system, she's probably never used it before.
Yeah.
She's never experienced it before. So yeah, she's probably passed the hell out, but she's probably also asphyxiating.
Yeah.
Like, she probably couldn't breathe. She was passed out. Which defeats the idea that she was actually asleep. She was knocked out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if she really was having a problem breathing and she was asleep, she would have turned over.
Wonder if he.
That's what happens when you snore.
Wonder if he
usually
realized
turn
he gave
over.
her something that was. Maybe
Like,
thought
just-
he gave her a
and
lethal dose or something. That's why he was watching her breathing.
That's something that that's something you even do if you are just
Yeah. I'm not going to assume that. I'm not going to assume he had that much care because he, the condom and the lube.
Mhm.
This, I don't know. It sounds like she was out
I
of
mean,
it and
clearly it
passed
was-
out, and yeah.
Clearly it was an overdose, so he was probably concerned he gave her too much.
Yeah. The whole.
Especially with her body weight
Yep. Yep.
and drinking that much.
Yep. And him holding firm like he has been on, this. It wasn't a sexual encounter.
Mm-hmm.
That's nonsense. Like, that's caca nonsense. Everything about this timeline in this story says Matt was there for one thing, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys out there, but I think it says one thing. It wants one thing.
Well, he brought an entire bottle of tequila to a girl's house that he was meeting for the first time. Also, hello.
There's
Hello.
Arianthe! Oh, I didn't know if we'd have you. Oh, I'm so glad I left
Yeah.
the Discord open.
But see, that also
I've been
stresses me
around.
out a little bit because they're meeting for the first time, supposedly. So that defeats the purpose. You've known this girl for 3 days and you gave her $40 to get her nails done?
Yeah.
When
Well,
she
it was
gets them done
just-
herself?
Yeah,
I don't think she would have accepted that to begin with. I
Even
don't
if he
think that's
did, though.
realistic.
Even if he did give her $40 to get her nails done, he was just trying to get into her house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of that was even, you know what I mean? Like if that was just him pushing something into her PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, what's your Cash App? Here, here's $40 to get your nails done or whatever. And he just did that unwarranted.
Maybe that's
you know, he
just
did it and he
maybe
just
this was also a situation where he was, trying to get a sugar baby out of her.
gotcha. Yeah, like he was trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the attempt. Yeah. I could see that. I don't know.
I
don't know.
I don't know. I personally obviously don't know the situation, and I don't know, how she lived her life by any means, but we do know a little bit about her.
Her
And we know a little
parents
bit about her parents.
said her nails were already done, according to
Right.
a text
So,
chat.
why would she get them done again?
Yeah.
She has a place
Yeah.
that she goes.
Yeah.
She has a nail guy. She has a specific appointment.
Good point.
He
We saw
probably
her apartment.
rescheduled
She didn't
it.
need a damn thing.
Okay, I'm thinking about this the way that I do this shit. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
you're right.
I'm typically one of those women who I regularly, if I'm able to, get my nails done.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I like to do for myself. I will schedule the appointment, and before I even leave that appointment, I'm already scheduling the next one.
No, you wouldn't have let me pay for it like days into us having started talking.
Exactly. I
Like,
already
you
had my
would've-
nails done.
You would
when
have
we
been
met.
like, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I
Like,
got
I
the
already
feeling
had
she'd
my
be
nails
like that
done
too,
when
like,
we
I'm not
met.
like
I knew
that.
that we were meeting up, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll go get my
Yeah.
nails done.
No, I keep my
Like,
I keep my stuff taken care of. I
Yeah.
don't need that.
Yeah. And that's something that she did for herself on the regular, just like going to the gym. That's a common thing for her.
Yeah.
She doesn't need his money to get her nails done.
Very true. She really does.
She didn't need it, and she probably didn't even want it. Like, I genuinely don't think he actually offered to get her nails done.
Yeah.
That's ludicrous. For somebody after you've known her for 3 days.
Yeah. There's no way. It almost feels like again another attempted smear at a character.
Yeah.
You think that's why he threw that in there? Is like trying to make it seem like it was transactional.
Yeah, because he
the
looks
whole
like a
thing.
scumbag
It's
if he
there.
shows up with a fifth of fucking tequila.
I got a feeling.
And
once
that's it.
I got a feeling once we see his real face and not that Chad catfish photo.
A fifth of tequila and
Yeah. Well.
what? Some ho-hos?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
That makes him look like less like a sugar daddy and more like a scumbag.
For real. For
Looking
real.
for a damn one-night stand.
Yeah. And he really.
Just like to point out that as you drink, your blood gets thinner, your blood pressure goes up, and everything happens a lot faster. Now, date rape drug can go in and out of your system really fast
Yeah.
because your liver immediately tries to break it down.
Yeah.
So if it's getting filtered faster,
If it's
Here,
getting filtered
drink
faster,
more.
you don't need more of it.
Yeah.
yeah, drink
with-
more
if you
though. Drink
give-
more though, so.
Yeah. Unless you give more of it and overdose somebody.
Absolutely. Well, it's
Yeah.
fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol in this case. So it's pushing a lot into that liver. In this
Yeah.
case, something like GHB. That's one method of. Arianthe and I have a friend who at a music festival we all used to go to, overdosed on GHB. I'll tell you his name off mic. Arianthe. I don't know if you know that story, but he had to get air vac'd out, and we learned a little bit about GHB. See, he was passed a Gatorade bottle, and he didn't notice everybody behind him was just drinking capfuls of the liquid inside of it, and he was on ecstasy, so he just hit it like it was Gatorade, but it was GHB, and he overdosed. I know a bit, I don't know much about what that feels like, but I know a bit about what heavy opiate use it feels like, what fentanyl feels like, I've done a fentanyl patch a couple of times in my life, and I don't think I've really had anything laced with fentanyl in the past. I got out of the game and I got clean before any of that. And you know, it kind of fits the timeline of this, like, you take it, like, when the first time I took a heavy opiate, the come up happened, you get kind of like flush in the face, but then you puke, like you vomit.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't get over that detail. His own description of her actions feels like she was given fentanyl. And this happens before Lakeem shows up.
Mm-hmm. Because they were drinking.
Yeah. And another thing that happened to me anyway, the first time, like my first big experience with opiates, or if like my first time with a fentanyl patch in particular, I had this boost of energy, and I was sociable for a good period of time. For a pretty good period of time, I was like really chatty and sociable before I passed out. Like,
That's why Lakeem said that she looked like herself.
that's, again, this all fits a timeline of she was given this specific cocktail by him before Lakeem showed up, and that's why she, you know what I mean? I feel like this all fits in a certain way to me if you've done this particular, mixed with MDMA and then taking a massive amount. It's basically the worst thing he could do, short of mixing both with alcohol. Exactly, special guest in the text chat. This is a worst case scenario cocktail, and again, I think he was under the impression he had bought GHB. There's an unusual GHB problem in that town.
Yeah.
And somebody had mentioned last night, maybe he just gets off on that MO, like that methodology with a date. Like maybe he's just a date rapist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now in my opinion, he's a murderer. I think he's responsible for her death.
He's responsible to an extent,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. I don't see a scenario where he doesn't, again,
Especially when the
what
first...
we're speculating
I
turns
still
out to
can't
be
get over
true.
that. I still can't get over that, especially when the first thing you do is call Cronin.
It's such a hang-up for me.
Mm-hmm.
The Cronin details.
I want to pull up that report again.
Yeah, here.
Where Cronin
Absolutely.
admits. Where even was that? Do you remember?
But it's in this. It's in the.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, they reference it in this. Yeah, keep going. He confronts.
I just want to
Carrionis.
read it. I don't want to play it.
Yeah, he confronts Carrionis about it. Keep going.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and
Okay.
this is from Bridgeport PD.
See, okay, so
the
this
statements
is...
reading.
According to the
Bridgeport's messed up,
incident,
special
according
guest.
to the
It's
incident
messed up.
report, present at the scene was a white male named Matthew LaFountain. The man is old enough to be Lauren's father. Based on the way the scene was processed, there is reason to believe that Detective Cronin has some connection with Mr. LaFountain and may have unofficially arrived at the apartment to assist LaFountain in a cover-up around 3:30 a.m. prior to LaFountain officially calling 911.
Yeah. Now, what is their connection? That's something that's
The
going.
physical evidence on the scene was a pill used as a sedative, a condom in the bathroom with semen in it, and a round blood stain in the middle of Lauren's bed. There was also
Why
a
was it
plate
in
of
the middle?
food turned over on the living room floor. Why the fuck is that not highlighted?
Yep.
Why? Wait a minute. Why was the blood in the middle of her bed?
That's what I'm saying.
Why was there a plate of food tipped?
Because they were sitting there in the living room watching a movie. She passes out on the couch.
It's just an awful.
Probably
it's just
dropped
an
the
awfully
plate.
hostile thing to have in a scene.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily in my mind. Yeah, why wasn't that highlighted?
This is why I read it all the way through
Thank you.
when we watched it last night, and why I was like so slow to find out that there's already assumption and speculation that Cronin was there at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And like Arianthe said, what's up with the blood stain in the middle of the bed?
That's
I
what
thought
I'm
she
saying
was, like,
earlier.
Side with quote unquote.
That's what I was saying earlier when I said that girl would not have allowed that man in her apartment if she already had the blood on her sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. He let Cronin in.
Yes.
And
Because that happened that night.
Yeah.
That was a result of whatever happened between 11:50 and 3:30.
Yeah.
There's no way that it's any other way.
Goodness.
I wanted to see if they would give us this other paragraph down here, but I don't think they do. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, we should add this to the timeline real fast. How should I put this in here?
We need to highlight that there was blood in the middle of her bed. Why was it in the middle?
Yeah.
I just in
Because
what
you are. That's just how you lay. Doing the deed, usually.
Well, yeah, this is actually, yeah, that's and right there the biggest
That
piece of physical evidence that
is
he wasn't there for a
forced.
not sexual relationship, and he did indeed have
That's forced in
non-consensual.
some kind
yeah,
of way.
That was
Yeah.
that was SA, and that definitely happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
No other way that like not an amount of blood that would be noted by law
He's not
enforcement
bleeding.
Like that.
There's no, according to most of this shit, they don't even assess him. So they're assuming he's not bleeding.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a scratch on him. But
We
there's
have no
blood
fit.
in
Well,
the middle
yeah,
of the
and
bed.
they don't even think they took photos of him.
Mm-mm.
I don't even think they took photos of him.
I mean, unless they processed him that night.
Yeah,
But again, that took 3 hours too.
yeah.
All of this took. Both of these instances take the same amount of time as that damn Avatar movie.
Yeah. Huh.
That's all I'm saying.
Something happened. The more we've had a few different really interesting articles pop up in our Discord about Cronin.
Mm-hmm.
Cronin is where my mind has been going this whole time.
I just want to see the details. Because they say that there's reason to believe that Cronin was there at 3:30 because of the way the scene was processed at 6:30.
Yeah.
It's haphazard, it's quick, they don't even pull anything from the house.
And they're in and out. They take
Yeah.
his statement and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
As far as they imply they leave him in there, do they take him back to question him? Doesn't it imply that they question him for a period of time?
Yeah,
And
they
then
took took him back to question him. That he was there for about 3 hours.
And that was day of, right?
Mm-hmm. That was after they arrive at the scene and pronounce her dead at 6:49. I assume.
That's just, and like the processing time for an interrogation or even an interview to get someone's statement, like they're going to be prepping for an hour or whatever, getting everything allocated, getting their paperwork in order, and then getting the statement, and then discharge time and final paperwork stuff. Like it sounds like he genuinely only got talked to for like an hour and a half tops.
Even if this is
Less
the
than
document.
Avatar.
Even if this is the document that was filed by the family's attorney.
Yeah.
By this point when they filed it, they already knew about the physical evidence that was in the apartment.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem to be in the police report right now. We haven't seen the whole thing, but we also know they didn't pull anything from the apartment that night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Much less really process it. I feel like I have hair.
You're good. I'm trying to make this a little more visible for our recollection. Again, push
Great man
back
named
forward in
Matthew
this just a little
Lost
bit.
This man is old enough to be Lauren's father.
When questioned about specifically the conspiracy with Cronin, he obfuscates and just focuses on the age part of that question.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives me nuts in this interview. I really don't like Carrianos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really, 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 really don't like Carrianos.
Well, he's also just not experienced with stuff like this.
He's really not. Yeah, he's a personal injury lawyer. We've mentioned it before in the series, but goodness. Everybody attached, every time I see a photo of him, for some reason, it just, something about it reeks of potential functional opiate addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it reeks of function. Like, there's an issue within law enforcement there. And again, this is one of 2 crimes this day, in my opinion. It was one of 2 deaths this
It
day.
is.
You know? Let's see.
And as far as we know, Cronin responded to both of them, didn't he? Or did he respond to Lauren Smith and then the other guy responded to the other one?
I know whoever responded to...
Because I feel like there were
to-
2 detectives that were
Yes.
involved with both of those cases that were suspended. One was Cronin and one was the other guy.
Yes. And,
Angelinos.
Yeah.
yes. I know, was Angelinos. I don't know, whoever it was with the second person, by the time the family asked, it was like they smirked and laughed and said, oh, she's been gone for 2 days or whatever.
Because that was another instance where they didn't tell the family.
Yeah.
That same night.
The FBI needs to step into this.
Yeah.
The
They
FBI
really do.
needs to step into
It's
this.
almost too late at this point.
It really is. It really is almost too late.
It-
I mean, well,
There's so much
we're in
evidence.
February.
that-
yeah,
we
I
are
do-
in
Right.
February.
yeah. Yeah, this
There's
happened
so
this
much
year in
evidence
February.
that's just sitting there wasting away, and I really feel like they're doing it on purpose.
They are. I think
There's
Bridgeport
already so much that's
absolutely is.
deteriorated.
Bridgeport is covering up so much. I mean, again, just having when Umbra opened up the Lauren Smith Fields text channel in our Discord, it's crazy how much just peripheral Bridgeport stuff has ended up in there. Like how much police corruption, police laid off, police investigated, police drug scandals, police being involved in gangs. Like,
Here's
like
my-
if you follow just one link of those, it goes into different rabbit holes and conspiracies.
It snowballs.
Yeah.
So, okay. Here's another question. You mean to tell me that the same girl you gave $40 to get her nails done made you wait a little bit longer outside because she wasn't done with her makeup?
Oh yeah. There's things that just don't fit.
And we saw how she puts herself together
Yeah, she's
and how
very
she puts her wigs on
Very serious about
and
it.
how she sets herself up.
She's not gonna be
So
seen.
she's not going to be seen with undone nails. And
the
she's not
first
going to be
date.
seen without being ready.
Definitely not in a living room.
So
where
yes,
she's
she
drunk enough to
probably
have tipped
got
it.
her nails done.
Like
Like that's it's how do you in the same statement say, well, I felt like I was ghosted because I was waiting outside for too long, but then she texted me and said she was almost done with her makeup. But earlier you said you gave her $40 to get her nails done?
Yeah.
No, because she was preparing to see you.
Yeah.
She would have had her nails done already. She would have been working on her makeup.
And that's what the family says.
Yeah.
And that's everything we've seen on her YouTube. She was
Exactly. That's- I'm
everything
just-
we've seen from
I
her
don't
social
understand-
media
I don't
presence. Yeah, she
understand
would have
how you
already
can
had
say
the
that.
things done.
I don't understand how you can say that in
I wonder
the
if
same report.
I got a feeling maybe I don't know. Maybe he was
She
it's a
respects herself
story
enough.
he concocted.
She respects herself enough to be polished and ready to be seen. The way
Yeah.
that she likes to keep herself ready
Yeah.
to hang out with anybody, probably anybody. She probably does the same thing to see her friends.
Yeah.
Like
There's-
the
It's just,
it's just it's too much.
it genuinely
It's
is.
tiring.
It really is.
Like I'm just thinking about the way that she handles herself and the way that we've been able to read and see how she is.
we did an episode of what we can figure out about both of them, and again, like, there's a lot to sink your teeth into, and if you investigate, if you look into Lauren, she was very open about who she was.
Mm-hmm.
She was on YouTube and TikTok and very open about who she was. You can build a psychological profile right there and easy. And yeah, nothing about who we discovered in the first episode fits Matt's timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And again, blood stain in the middle of the bed. What from?
Yeah.
But
Do tell, please.
not once have we read him say she started her period.
No, and there's no
There's not even mention of it.
Well, and we would know probably after evidence is examined a little better if it was
And it
menstrual
would've-
blood.
and
Even
it
if it
wouldn't have
was
been-
menstrual blood, why the hell would Lauren wouldn't?
It wouldn't. First
It
of all, it
wouldn't-
wouldn't have
no.
been in the middle of her bed if she was laying on her right side
Yep.
next to a man
Yep.
in her bed.
Yes. No way.
Yeah.
No way on earth. Nothing
And then
about.
at that point, if that really could have happened, dude, you're an asshole for just sitting there like that. Like, why wouldn't you just give her some space and maybe, I don't know, put a blanket on her and go in the living room? Because she's already, like, if she would have lived and that were the actual case, she would have been really upset that happened.
Yeah. It would have been a regretful story
Yeah,
for sure.
because that's not something, we can control, but it's still kind of awkward when it happens and we're not expecting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wouldn't push for. Yeah, if it was that kind of. I just. I want to know how Cronin and Matt know each other. And why it's suspected they have a relationship in the past, Oh, yeah.
Blood likely means that there was some forced essay.
Yeah, and that's what
Yeah.
that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly
Like,
what that means.
That's some intense something going on, especially if it's
Yeah.
around bloodstain, which means it sounds like it's something that happened consistently for a period of time. It's not spotting.
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
a lot.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot of confirming DNA on both sides of that condom then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On both sides of it. It sounds like the key to this whole thing is that condom. There's
Oh, I
evidence.
see what you mean, Jameson.
Ah. Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Very possible. Very possible. Again, a proper rape kit being done could give us a lot of answers on this. They waited so long to do any proper autopsy. It's ridiculous.
But I think since she passed, certain signs I don't think you can really get rid of.
Oh no, it would still
Like
be there.
it's-
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it would still be there. You can still, yeah, no, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I think there'd be evidence for sure. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness, grim topic. Rough evening. We have to keep this one a little bit brief tonight. It's crazy weather everywhere. Arianthe, I'm sure you got to batten down the hatches.
Mm-hmm.
I am freezing. It is so cold.
We had to turn the heat up here. We're actually experiencing our own little deep freeze here,
Mm-hmm.
and so we tried to keep the bricks, the brick warm.
It is 21
How-
degrees outside is what it's going to get down to
It's 21?
in the desert.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I just checked the weather to see it's -1 here.
Oh goodness.
Mm-mm.
Oh goodness.
Yep. I'm freezing.
Uh,
But you still can't make me put on pants.
ain't happening.
Mother Nature said get dressed and I said fuck you.
Said hey, no, piss off. Piss
Right.
piss off, Mother Nature. No, I can't stand it. I'm a little lady out in the cold now, huh? I complain the whole
Oh, I'm
Earlier we had to
such a
go to the
baby.
market to figure out dinner, and I was like, oh, well, maybe it won't be so cold yet, because it was only like, what, 7:30?
Yeah.
Like, all right, we got to do something. And I'm like, oh, it's only 46 right now.
Yeah.
And he was like, no.
No, don't say that reasonably. It's not just 46. We live in the
Oh,
desert. We live in the desert.
He's like, I moved to the desert
Yeah.
for warmth.
Yeah. That's him. But I appreciate everybody who watches this video. If you could check out the GoFundMe for the Justice for Lauren. What we're doing this week is for Lauren. We're exploring her character. We're on a timeline now. Tomorrow though is episode 4, and it's titled 3:30 a.m. We're going to talk about what we think happened at 3:30 a.m.
I know I kind of harped on that tonight, but that
That's
was
fine.
very specific to the timeline, and I wanted to make sure that we added that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a big one.
Ah,
It's where all
The
of the
further we
questions
get-
are.
the further we get in this, the more angry I get. And this just sits on me all. Like, when I go to bed, I'm going to sit here and be like, Kevin Cronin.
Yeah. It's an infuriating situation. Yeah, Cronin's been in my mind this whole time. He's been this I've been hyper focused on 3:30 a.m. since before we did the first episode, because I did research to structure our week.
Yeah.
So there's a reason from the jump there's been a day devoted to what happened at 3:30 a.m. and we're going to get into it. We're going to speculate. It might get a little Nancy Grace, but I feel like this case deserves it. It deserves media speculation to the craziest degree. And you guys know I don't go Molly go lightly. I'm not going to show up at someone's house. This is as crazy as it gets. And we now try to remain a certain level of respect and decorum for the victims that we talk about. And that's just how it's going to be moving forward when we have streams about true crime. If anybody would like to participate or would like to be a part of the panel in the future, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I would love to have you on a panel, the next true crime thing that we do. But again, reason for this season, Justice for Lauren GoFundMe, down in the description. Arianthe, thank you so much. Lux, a pleasure as always. We're going to keep seeing each other after this. So sometimes it's funny when you say goodbye to someone who's like right here.
Yes, I'm going to exit my house.
Yeah. All right, leave now. Go.
Have
go
a good
out-
night, guys.
Go under the
Good
portal.
night.
Good night. And everybody out there, again, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and check out that GoFundMe. Hashtag Justice for Lauren.